So this week's drill is going to be the ground clock. The ground clock drill, sort of how it sounds, you're going to be laying on the ground. You never know what type of situation you may run into where you trip and fall or you get knocked down. You may have to fire from the ground. And it sounds simple enough, but anytime you're firing to or from an elevation, there are some things to consider, especially from laying on the ground. You have your feet and your knees that could get in the way and things like that. So regarding the ground position, there's different ways that you can judge this, but I consider it 12 o'clock, meaning my feet are pointed directly at the target. And so then 3 o'clock, my feet would be pointing at the 3. 6 o'clock, feet pointing away from the target. 9 o'clock, feet pointing the opposite direction. This can be done from multiple ways of having overt or concealed holster, or just from the pistol being out. I'm going to run through it from an appendix, not actually from concealed. I'm going to just put it in the appendix as if it were concealed and just run through that draw and the practice of doing that to show you that technique doing it from the ground, which is, again, just slightly different than if you have to draw while you're standing. So a couple of things you notice on the ground clock. One, I used the non-recoil pistol. No real good reason for that. It just seemed like the thing to do at this time, and gives me an opportunity to, again, work on my overall muscle control of making sure that my trigger finger is squeezing and I'm not jerking at the trigger, so that I can look at my target and where I'm hitting. Other than that, there was really no good reason to use it. I certainly could have used the recoil. But, to go over the actual technique, the actual procedure, in the 12 o'clock position where my feet are facing the target, as you draw, you want to make sure, just like if you're standing, that you're not flagging your own feet in this situation. And depending on where that target in front of you is, it's easy to do that. You also want to make sure you don't bend your knees up. That tends to be a habit that as you bend up, especially if you have weak abs, you're going to squat up and you're going to bend your knees. Now all of a sudden your knees are sitting right in the line of your target, and that's not good technique either. So, on the 3 o'clock where my feet are to the right hand side, facing the 3 o'clock position with my feet, in that position, when you draw, it's the same thing. As you draw, your body, you're sort of drawing and rotating all at the same time, and then being able to punch out and take your shots. And again, we're only doing 2 shots to the target on this. The technique on the 9 o'clock, it's essentially the same. On the 9 o'clock, the difference is as I'm drawing the holster, from the holster, it's coming out, and I'm kind of laying on my right-hand side and punching forward. Your body muscle memory still is relatively the same. It's just that you've got the floor, the ground up against you, kind of limiting some of your motion and your activity. The ground clock drill is certainly, you don't want to have to do any of these drills in reality, right? You never want to have to draw your pistol at all. But this is one of those that you really should practice a couple of times so it's not completely foreign to you, because otherwise when you do need it, that one time you draw, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, right? And so, I would say practice it a couple times a year so that at least it's there and kind of have that down. But, this is one of those, again, you don't want to do, but come in and practice it. Come in and train it. And that's what OVR allows you to do. Again, we can let you train in pretty much any sort of scenario or that you want to do.